this was the harder part to figure out, but we will get to the second part to see if it's going to affect us long term. Hopefully this isn't going to take as long. One thing I do want to do real fast just before we move to the next phase here is I've done a hypothetical where instead of building the library as a second expansion, we went ahead and made it the Arsenal level 2. So we're now getting 5 Arsenal donations a day starting on day 14. And we'll just scan ahead and see what that does. Now, we were 148 with Arsenal 4th building. We're 132 with Arsenal with the second building. So let's just see if there's been any significant cost. 100, 80. Okay, so 67 equals this minus 67. So that would result in a savings of 81 donations. And I should have just left that in there. Or 65 donations. So I'm not going to speculate what kind of value that adds versus not having the library, extra gold, what have you, pushing the town hall back to the 4th expansion or into the next period. But just as an FYI, these are the sorts of things that I'm always figuring out, and when I make recommendations is about how much money we're saving by doing things differently, and then what we can now use this particular money for. For example, saving 81 donations is pretty much building another building in the first period. So to make those kinds of savings, we could pretty much have the next building almost finished by the time the barbarians attack on day 120. As it stands with our current plan, we are just going to barely finish getting it done. The level 1s are going to just barely get to level 8 and hopefully have enough to make donations. The level 5s are going to easily make it to level 8 and hopefully be able to carry the burden of the level 1s that have to build up their housing. But so anyway, so for the next level, I am speculating we're not going to have a lot of excess resources available, so we're going to have to start a fresh build, which means our expansions are going to be level. It's going to take about a week. Again, I'm going to keep it at a week. It's been taking us a week to build here. I don't see why that's going to be any different. So what I've chosen is the bank for the first 2 donations, or sorry, the first 2 city expansions. They're 10 CPs each, so I've reflected that here. And clearly, to be efficient, we don't want to start upgrading our houses until we have our bank upgraded to level 3 so we can get the more efficient exchange rate. Now, I chose the bank again because just going back to Vix's comments about level 2 arsenal, 2 levels of town hall, 2 levels of bank. I agree with 2 levels of bank. Vix agrees with 2 levels of bank, so that's why I selected them first. And because we are looking at getting housing to level 12 ASAP to get those 1.8% resources, those 80% bonus resources, let's do that soon. So let's see how this works out. All right, so now to predict the time it's going to take to upgrade here, again, this is kind of what I did before. I never showed you the process here, but we're going to assume on day 1 of the next period, we have no income and we're going to have 1 coin to our name. This might not be accurate, but it's just a worst case scenario here. So because we're at a level 8 house, we're making an income of 1.5, so the spreadsheet is automatically tallying up the income. I have a little cheat sheet here that tells me how many resources we need to spend to upgrade to level 9, so we need 10 resources and 33 coins. If I need to, I can make a coin trade at the bank, and the formula will be updated to now give 8 coins per resource, not 6, because we're assuming we're not doing this until we have the upgraded bank to level 3. So let me just fill this in. Just to quickly go into how I do this, again, level 9, 10 resources, 33 coins. So we're at about 10 resources here, but we won't have enough coins here, so we're going to need to make a trade. Probably 3 resources to the bank. So there, now we have our 33 coins, and then the next day is that we'll have 10 resources is projected to be day 10. So this is the day that we can build our level 9 house, which costs us 10 resources and 33 coins. And now we're back down to only having 2 resources and 2 coins, and the process starts. So let me finish filling this in. Okay, so keeping in mind, of course, this does not include bonus resources again, monthly gold, weekly gold, winning games, etc. By the time we get to our level 12 house, it is costing us 13 resources and 52 coins. We're making our exchanges, getting a great rate at the bank. It's taken us 43 days to get from level 8 to level 8 to level 12. This obviously wasn't updated properly. So now, unfortunately, the second period is only 45 days. So by not starting until 2 weeks in on day 75, because we want to wait until the bank's upgraded for optimal results, we're only going to have 30 days to upgrade our housing, spending every resource we earn, and that's not going to cut it. So obviously that means we're going to have to start upgrading our housing earlier. Even though the bank rate, exchange rate may not be great, we're going to have to start the process earlier. The good news is that clearly we're not going to start with just 0 income and 1 coin. In this 14 weeks that it takes to build the bank, clearly lots of people are going to be amassing some resources and probably already be partway into it. So are we going to realistically get to level 12 by the time the second attack comes? I'm just gonna say likely. It's gonna take a lot of alternative. This here. It's going to take a lot of alternative calculations, but let me see what I can do. Now we are looking at, again, only 2 building upgrades, the bank, and our housing to level 12. This is the adjusted for ACF. This is the CPs that it'll cost. I believe it's 169. Non-adjusted. We'll assume our clothing goes up another 3 points, and maybe our garden goes up another point here. So now we're looking at 41.06 danger value. So the sum of donations, my initial projections were we were going to include a wall here, but if we're going to get to level 12, I don't think we're going to have any money to build any more city buildings here. No donations because they reset obviously after the attack. Our actual donations need to be, okay, so 342 equals 342 divided by 50 citizens is about 7 donations per citizen. Where we're going to get this money from? Is it going to come from bonuses? It's hard to say, because if we're going to get to level 12 and build 2 buildings in this period, we're already in overtime. So we're probably dipping into that bonus, and we have to come up with almost 7 donations per person. So I'm going to say not possible. And that may mean that we just simply can't do the upgrades to level 12. I don't even know if nixing Town Hall could help on this situation, but let me just try one thing here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is what happens if we don't upgrade the bank at all. Let's change our exchange rate. I added this little formula behind the scenes here. So now my spreadsheet is warning me that my calculations are unrealistic, so we're going to have to change some things here. So let me do that, and we will be right back. And pow, instantaneously we're all better now. So what I've done is I've written down or made a note of what we were trading in to get the right amount of coins, and we now are seeing an update here. So what it ends up being is it takes us an extra 3-4 days to build the houses at an additional cost of, Let's just take a look. That cost us 21 resources and 16 resources if we have a higher level bank. So each active citizen is paying an additional 5 resources, and it's taking us an extra 3 days to get our houses built. Basically 46 days, which if we started upgrading our houses right from the very first day after the attack, we would just get them upgraded in time for the attack. That's assuming we have no leftover resources after the first attack whatsoever, and we don't have the bank helping us at all. Now keep in mind, this is 100% of our earned resources, our earned income going towards just getting to level 12. This doesn't even pay for any upgrades or donations to city buildings, and it does not pay for guard donations whatsoever. Again, it doesn't include bonuses. It doesn't include any leftover income from the beginning. But what, of course, this is saying is to build 2 levels of the bank at this stage is only going to save 5 resources per person. So at 4 donations to get 2 levels of housing each, that's 3, 6, 9, 12. Spend 12 to save 5. It doesn't make sense in this case. The bank, of course, will be useful later in the game for upgrading houses and gardens, but maybe we need to look at it as not a priority now, or we need to downgrade our objectives of getting our housing so high, because it's just going to be a very hard thing to do, which is going to leave us with no money to really do anything else. And if we want to, in fact, build buildings like the bank and then be able to use them, or maybe the bathhouse or what have you, I don't know, we might need to rethink our strategy here. So here's another way to look at it. If we only upgrade the bank to 1 level, we already know the bank isn't an efficient deal on its own. We know it's an investment to the 3rd and 4th period when we're going to be building more gardens and clothing and whatever, and housing, of course, too. So let's say we only build 1 level of the bank, and now we take a look at what that does. Again, I've moved the rates down to compare. So far, there's a whole lot of savings. There's a little bit of savings coming here. So again, it works out to being, it's going to take us, with 1 level of bank instead of 2 versus none, it's going to take us an extra day to build, and it's going to cost us 18 resources instead of 16 resources, which is less than 21. But really, again, only saving 2 resources, basically not even a full donation. Nonetheless, it is a savings. It does give us a little extra income. It gets us our housing built in time, and it leaves us extra money that we're going to need to build up or to make our guard donations. So let's see how we can make this work.